Daredevil Born Again Season 1 is now over, so let's talk about this season. Now, let me take these off because I look more like a hippie than Matt Murdock with these. As with this season, blind lawyer Matt Murdock and former mob boss Wilson Fisk find themselves on a collision course. As I do believe that takes place about 6 years after Season 3 of the original Daredevil series, in which this does serve as a sequel to the original series, to which we get a lot of the original cast back from Charlie Cox, Deborah Ann Woll, Eldon Hansen, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ayelet Zerer, Wilson Bethel, and of course John Bernthal. And it was great to see them back again as their characters in this, to which some might have not appeared as much as others. We do get Charlie Cox as Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio back as the Kingpin, and the two of them in this are just phenomenal. As there are parallels going on with the two of them, as they both pretty much left their alter egos behind, but throughout the season we do see like them struggling holding their alter egos back. But with how this season was, how this revived everything, it did so in a pretty interesting way. As with this season, with this series, it has more of a budget than the original one had. Marvel TV did not want to spend a lot of money on the Netflix shows, but finally with Marvel Studios taking over and creating their own version of Marvel TV, it now has a budget. And it just definitely shows as everything is just more brutal. We see Matt Daredevil being more acrobatic like in the comics, and all that I do think worked very well. And a lot of stuff just stood out as the camera work, as I do believe that they were creative with the camera work in this season, showing off Matt's abilities in a very unique way. And with this season compared to the first season, it just feels more brutal. The fight scenes feel more brutal, and it does that perfectly well, as this feels different compared to the other Marvel Disney Plus shows. We actually see them using the F-bomb. We see blood and guts on screen compared to the other shows. And just how it did all that was just phenomenal. Like also with this season, we do get introduced to new characters that appeared in the comics. From Kristen, Heather, with Muse being a villain in this, and I thought he stood out. A bit different than the comics, but yet he was still pretty freaky in this. But the standout new character in this season was Hector Ayala, the White Tiger, as Camar de los Reyes portrayed him, and he sadly passed away from cancer after filming this. But he gave a phenomenal performance as Hector Ayala, the White Tiger. And another thing with this season is that it is interesting to see how Matt is pretty much after the events of Daredevil Season 3, Spider-Man No Way Home, and She-Hulk, as well as seeing how Wilson Fisk is after the events of Hawkeye and Echo. In which I do believe it explored the two of them very well, explored their motives very well, explored them struggling very well, as Matt is struggling with loss, and Kingpin, he is pretty much struggling with his marriage. And one thing that is interesting in this, as Fisk is trying to become mayor, Vanessa pretty much taken over as Kingpin. I will admit that I do wish there were more episodes, and I do wish that some episodes were longer than others. But at the same time, I am happy with what we got. And I've seen people complain about this, but how it lacked Daredevil and focused more on Matt in the earlier episodes. I can understand that criticism, but Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, he is just phenomenal. It doing more with Matt Murdock, it having more lawyer scenes, showing Matt be a really good lawyer, I think those work. I think it helped with the story and add more to his struggle on trying not to be Daredevil due to what happened. But with Daredevil Born Again, and as someone who loved the original Daredevil series, this was a good continuation to that. As it went into a new direction, but at the same time going along with the original series. And I think it did that very well. And one way to describe it is that it is like with comics, when a comic get a new writer, it relaunches the series again at number 1. And this does feel like that. And I gotta admit, it worked. And with how this season ended, it did end in a high note, as it does set up for Season 2 very well, and possibly the Punisher special presentation. So I can't wait for those two. But with what it sets up with Season 2, there are rumors we could see certain Defenders back, and I hope that is true. But with Daredevil Born Again, it was a worthy successor to the original Daredevil series that has a phenomenal acting, that is action-packed, as it is just super brutal, but phenomenal at the same time. Overall, I loved Daredevil Born Again Season 1, but what are your thoughts on Season 1? Let me know in the comments below, and follow me for more.